Okay, are we ready to roll? Let's do it.
Okay, officially Greg's here, so we can begin.
All right, welcome everybody. Let's get Park Board meeting for Tuesday, July 21st on the way here. Did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes? Any questions, any changes?
I motion to approve the June minutes.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. New business. Public discussion. Okay.
Come on up,
Oh, okay.
if you're okay with that.
Yep, I'm fine. You guys pack them in. Wow. Just kidding. Hi. I am Shannon Peters. I'm part of the Casson American Legion. I'm the auxiliary president. And I know our gambling association, or our gambling team, donates monthly, quarterly to the park, their gambling funds to be used for the city parks and such. I'm just wondering if you can tell us where, I think we've donated $8,000 this year. I'm wondering where that money's going. If you can, I mean, obviously you're taking away money that we would give out to the community, basically. So I'm just, we donate to, Faith in Action, disabled vets, scholarships, all of that with that money. So I just want to be sure that it's being used for, not that you're not using it for good for the parks, but I'm just wanting to know where it's going. I mean,
And I'm pretty sure we could get Tim or who's the finance clerk these days?
Well, I think either Tim or Sarah, if Tim was here, he'd be able to speak.
Speak out about it right now,
I
but
don't know if you know anything more about
Is this the 10% that we initiated this year?
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have those checks been cashed by the city?
That I don't know the answer to. I'm going to say yes.
Yep. Okay. They're probably holding right now. It's a discussion that we've had at council level of should we be collecting that 10%? Should it be less? We've had those conversations. We're still having those conversations. The conversation stems around, in my belief, this is my belief on the council, if the Legion, the fishing club, I believe there's two other ones in town. Hockey is one of them.
Yep.
Fire department. If the money is staying local and there's proof of that, we've never had proof. No, none of the four entities have provided. That's just what I'm going off of what I'm told. So.
Okay. Have you ever asked for proof? Because I know as a Christy Ations, former Legion commander, present Legion member,
Yeah.
we have always been able to provide proof. An example would be our Casson Festival in the park. We have been the solo sponsors. We are no longer able to continue that because now we're giving 10% right away to the city, which, okay, that's great, but can we still use those funds to continue our sponsorship of the helicopter drop, which, as Shannon so eloquently spoke, we support a diverse group. Like your fishing team has a great group, but they support fishing team. Our Legion supports, we have hockey, we have football, we have Faith in Action, we have the Cancer Society, we have the Fisher House up in Minneapolis that supports our veterans who are there for surgeries. I mean, I could go on, and we could, no problem, show you proof that it's going to the community. Very passionate, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not questioning if you're donating it to the community. What I'm saying is when you get audited at the end of the year, you go to the state and you present that data, correct? You provide them your audit, how much you've made, where you've donated, correct?
I'm not 100% familiar with what our gambling does. I do know
Yeah,
that
'cause it's-
they come audit us
Yeah.
every year at the end of the year.
And
But I don't know the fine.
So you'd have to check in with Linda because in the past it sounded like we hadn't gotten those numbers. And that's why the state created this statute for towns to then enact. Well, we don't know the money's going. This is for any city can do this in the state of Minnesota. This isn't just a Casson thing. This is a statewide statute. Any city can do this.
This
Yes.
is actually really great education and dialogue, because I'm under the impression that none of the other area towns are doing this, and we were wondering why. And like, this is fabulous. Because
The council chose to do this because we're looking for ways to help support the Parks Department and fund things within our parks. And so this was one way, since it is a state statute that we can use, we chose that. Can we go back and change it? Sure. We haven't gotten to that point yet because we don't know how much money is going to come in because this has never happened before.
this is actually tremendous, and it is a learning curve for both sides, so it's again, great dialogue.
Yep.
But I do know that we donated $30,000 to the Veterans Memorial, and that was, gosh, was it October, November
Yep.
of
425.
It was
Yep.
24, 25, so like 30,000. We have never, ever donated 15,000 in a shot. We did 2 months in a row.
Yeah, and the Veterans Memorial wouldn't qualify for the gambling statute that you're talking about. That would not qualify. It has to go for youth activities within parks. Have you looked at the actual statute yet?
I personally have not, have you, Shannon?
If you Google the statute itself, it'll tell you what it can and cannot be spent on. And so a park, it can't start a new park. It has to update current parks, but it has to be for kids under 21. I say kids because that's what they quantify it as.
The hockey teams, the girls softball teams, the marching bands, the scouts.
Do you have a copy of those statutes?
I'd have to look it up right now. I don't have it off the top of my hand because I didn't know we were going to talk about this today, but I have looked at it a few times.
I know we've donated to like, was it the elementary park a few years back? And again, I don't know, so again, this is
Yep.
fabulous dialogue. So
And
we're on the same page.
what I have suggested to the council, as I'm on the council, is if we know that your donations stay within the community, then we shouldn't be taking that 10%. It should only be 10% of what leaves the community. So if you were to donate to an organization in Rochester that doesn't directly benefit this, even though someone in Castle might use that facility, the money doesn't stay in town, so it's taxpayer money that has been donated to you through different gambling outlets. That money then goes to a different facility in a different town. That seems fair.
Okay,
That was my suggestion. It hasn't gone any further in the last 2 months.
I think this is, again, respectful, because if we have your parameters, I'm almost certain that we are going to meet them. And
Yeah.
so just to have the education, that we just need to talk.
Yeah.
And we can have, because this
Figure
is
it
very punitive. It actually feels like, oh, we can't donate to the helicopter group anymore because now 10% off the top is coming. And like, we keep a certain proportion, the majority of ours does go into our county. I don't know if it's city.
Yeah.
It's definitely the county. And for example, our Fisherman's House, our Fisher House, it's a VA up in Minneapolis that is out of our county.
Yeah.
But it's for our veterans, which is
And
another one of our pillars.
It was just a suggestion I made because I don't agree with taking the 10%, but right now we are. And once something's voted on, I can't go out and just say I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. You have to support it once it's voted on. It's not something I can just go say no, don't do it. I can't do that.
I understand, and I actually like your amendment to it that says if you can show us proof that it's going within our parameters, we can
Yep.
give you some leniency on that 10%, or we'll say that you're 10%, because we actually look at that very strongly as we choose where is our donations this month going, and we're all here for the community, all of us.
Yeah.
So working together is really helpful.
Yep. We made this decision as a council a while ago based on the fact that we needed to bring money into the Parks Department itself. This was one way to do that.
A copy of your parameters would be super.
It's just a suggestion. I don't have a parameter because it hasn't come up to council to vote on. It was during we have an end of council meeting discussion. It's like a round table discussion, and that's when I brought it up. It hasn't gone anywhere since then.
So can you confirm, will we, as the American Legion, still be the sole sponsors for the helicopter drop? Because that's what we have taken a few years, or is that?
That would be, you'd have to contact the festival and the park committee. We don't have any control over that.
That's not, because of that, again, is another thing that, I mean, there's a lot of misunderstanding now, and you kind of, breaking that.
No.
Yeah.
Because that's something that they're no longer going to approve and vote for, because they're like, well, the city, and they're seeing the Castle Festival in the park as a city, And
It's a separate entity completely.
again, being very clear on what it is and what it isn't, because I'm sure we've donated something, because we are so diverse with our donations.
Yep. I'm not questioning your generosity.
No, I'm like literally, I just want to make sure we can continue to donate to the festival in the park. That's a great effort. I just want to see that succeed. I want to continue donating to everything, and it's just really important to know what qualifies and what doesn't, because otherwise this 10% is coming off, and if we
Well-
say, hey, here's our 10%, we would like it to go to this if possible.
You can donate your funds wherever you want. It was, like I said, it's not actually a rule that it's something I brought up. It's not something voted on. So where you donate now my thought doesn't impact that.
The 10% coming off our top.
The 10% does, yes.
Have to vote.
Yes,
and
the
that does
10%.
have a domino effect on how we vote and where it goes.
Yep.
Because right now, I can tell you whether it's true or not, they're seeing the festival in the park as city. So they're not wanting to
So
donate to that.
who is they?
That
They
is
is our
our board.
Yep.
Okay, so
The Legion
in this
board.
case, the Festival of the Park is its own, and it is not the city. So it just got portrayed back to them that,
Yep.
it's its own Festival of the Park.
The city also donates to the festival. We increased our donation to help them pay for cleanup this
Well, I
year.
think this is great just for clarity, so that we can
Yeah.
come back and say that, because obviously we meet once a month at the Legion, we do our vote and it's over. And like, their impression is, oh, Festival of the Park is taken care of by this 10%.
Okay,
And
well-
now this just brings a lot of clarity.
No.
That's-
Okay.
I think every person here wants success for our community.
Sure. Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Any questions, anybody, or
Did that answer your questions? I mean, you had, I guess.
did you,
it's-
yeah, are you,
Just making sure, because there's a lot of, discussion of other things and, where you're putting your funds to, great Legion, I'm glad as successful as it is, so, but, this 10% thing, if it's gonna be a check written, like I said, the check hasn't been written to city, hasn't been cashed, we haven't used it for anything yet, if that's still sitting in a pool, so we don't have an answer, where did that money go to, for what project? But if it's coming into the city and it's designated for park use, or parkland use, or something within the park, that should qualify, I would believe, of what you're asking for that percent.
Yeah, you were just trying to
So-
figure out,
You're just trying to take something back to your board and go, okay, let's, get things straight, festival's festival, a city is city, there's, it's not a city-run organization, so.
That was just one example, and I think we have very concrete thinkers on our board, so it is helpful if you can give us a concrete, here's, like, January through March, you donated this much, this is where the funds went to. Here's another sheet that says all of these entities would qualify for your 10% to go towards. I think that is super helpful.
Well, that's
because
something
this
that
is new.
I don't think comes with this board, that goes to the
Yep.
city
And-
itself.
Doesn't,
As I read it, it does say, well, cities may not donate 10% lawful gambling funds to city parks and recreations department. It may donate 10% funds for playground equipment within a city park. So when I read that, I'm not quite sure that money is going directly to the park and rec department. This is our first year enacting this. This is a new statute, so it's all kind of new for a lot of us.
it is new, and that's why we're just asking for clarity right off the bat, because
Yep.
it's a new transition for everyone, and just so we're on the same page.
Have you talked to Linda at the city office yet?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Who have you talked to at City Hall?
I haven't talked to anyone after we came to this meeting here.
Okay.
because we knew it was going to the city and park, so.
Yep.
that's
I would
why-
definitely talk Sarah, Linda, and Tim would be your best three at City Hall to discuss where these 10% gambling funds are going and if it's been spent at all.
And I guess just so everyone in the room knows I'm very clear on where I stand, I think it would be lovely to have a printout of every quarter. Every month seems
yeah.
a little excessive, but every quarter, the Castle Legion donated this much, this is where it went, the fishing team donated this much, this is where it went, just because we're very transparent there, and it's very black and white for some of our concrete members who, and we will see, Festival in the Park is nowhere in that, and then having a separate thing is, these are our new transition guidelines, these are the things that will qualify for your 10%. Because I guarantee we will not be donating anything additional to anything that is going to be under that 10% tier. we feel like they're taking their donation and they're covered. And I'm glad you clarified, right, the festival in the park is very much separate.
Yeah, and that's, and when they think city festival, city run, do other cities do their own festivals? Maybe, maybe not, I don't know, but. And
It's
then
just all
I
about
think,
the definition.
and then one of the first questions that you had was, do all the other cities in the state of Minnesota take this 10%? Probably not unless they want to. It's all, per choice per council, so. So does Dot Center do it? Maybe they don't even know, this is a,
Well, and just
thing,
because
so.
you hear something or read something doesn't make it true.
Mhm.
And that's why we came here to get the facts and just to be on the same page.
so, and I think Ryan did a good job saying, this is just, it's just starting. That check may be sitting on the office desk, not cashed yet. So we don't have it, but, talk to Linda and,
I can put you guys in contact with like Tim and Linda.
I actually have both their contacts, having been the previous.
so those would be the people to talk to.
And Lynn, this is just a courtesy, just to find out,
Sure.
because, our board, they're very busy too, so they didn't come. Shannon
Mhm.
was very,
So,
curious. And again, it's new, so that transition period we have where we all just need to kind of feel the waters and make sure we're all on the same page. Because I really want to continue to donate to the festival in the park if our 10% isn't going towards that. And again, I don't even.
And that's where, it's not coming out of the city, obviously, so.
But our votes also probably already happened, so I hope we're still maintaining it. And that was part of the reason, is like, hey, we're set 10%, can we ask for any voice on where our 10% goes? Because if we have 20 things that it goes for, then if we can say, can we head ours towards.
Oh, sure, no, I got you, yeah, but that's something you guys got on your side, you just need to talk, like, Linda and Ben will put you in contact, they'll be able to tell you when, if it's, where it goes, where it's tagged to,
Yeah.
whether they do it on a quarterly or annually basis, I
Do you
guess
know of
that's.
any other cities who have actually instituted this? Because I'm hearing none, that this is a first.
Well, didn't
and
Ryan
that
say this is
feels-
it's just opened up this year?
If I Google it, there is a list.
There is a list, is there any in our area?
Like I said, I gotta look up the list.
I also think publishing a record or a memo every quarter keeps it very transparent that, okay, Tammy's is doing this with the Vineyard the Fishing Club, the fire department out at events is donating. I mean, it just keeps everything super transparent. And I think that's been something that honestly a lot of entities have struggled with transparency. So that helps us start off the bat with a new policy being super transparent. Just a suggestion. I have lots of them.
Well, when you start dealing with gambling in the state, and they need to find out where it goes, in audits, you have to have your T's crossed, your I's dotted. So, so your bookkeeping will, it's good for them to know. But, how specific it gets, once you donate it and it's into the park system, how deep are we required to get back to you to tell you, that might be how deep do I gotta tell you at what playground piece was bought?
Transparency and for the good of the community,
Well,
there should be no
yeah,
problem
there's-
being transparent with where the dollars are going.
But transparency at some point is gonna stop somewhere. As long as you got record and we have the record of it was towards playground equipment or youth, at what point do you say, well, what playground piece did it buy?
Well,
They
we
probably wouldn't tell you that.
Well, Greg, we actually publish where all of our donations go every year.
Mhm.
And so it's lovely, we will be saying 10% has gone to the city. And it would be nice to say where that 10%.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, it's probably gonna go to, age under 21, youth, in the park, like as Ryan stated, but that's probably where it would probably, in my guess, stop unless Linda or Tim wants to get you further saying, that went into the, $70,000 of the playground equipment that we had to purchase, that 10% of that funds went into that $70,000 bill to help pay for it. I don't know, but that's something you have to discuss with them.
Right now, the state does not collect a list of cities. They have no registered list of cities, so you'd have to contact each individual city or look up each individual city's council minutes to find out if they've enacted it. So that, I mean, that'd be challenging. I mean, I'm more than willing to spend some time looking up I'd call them.
Just a Google search, and I'm not saying that's correct, but it says Anoka, St. Paul, Hibbing, Mankato, Fergus Falls, and Wilmington.
But the state does not keep
But
a
it's
roster.
not listing any other, but that's just what it said. in
Yeah.
the stuff.
And I believe we're the first in southeast Minnesota, which is why we just want to be very much on it and
Yep.
know how it runs and understand it and be very transparent with where it goes, because this is new and it's a huge hit. 10% of our donations, we don't get to decide that anymore. It goes to the parks, which I'm sad to hear the Veterans Memorial doesn't
So
qualify.
That one,
I just Google searched
It might.
that too, and it says
it does say for veterans
the
on there.
funds, the 10% contributions are general tax or city taxes must be spent strictly on specific law charitable purposes mandated by the state law. Youth programs, parks, playgrounds, and Veterans Memorial.
Let's say for recognition of military service or support for active military personnel and their immediate family members in need. To churches, to Minnesota pollution control agencies, there is a long list. So we haven't enacted where it's going yet.
Yeah, and that's actually a huge point. You haven't enacted where it's going. If we're donating that 10%, do we have any control or any say or any input on where it goes? Or
That
is
would be a great question for council, not for the park board.
Agreed or understood?
Yeah, because
When's our next council meeting?
we just had our monthly meeting in July, so it'll be the third Wednesday in August.
I'm just gonna say, when you allow someone to have some control,
Yeah.
it's always more palatable.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for hearing that.
Yeah. No, it's a frustrating process. I get it. I've talked to the fishing club about it as well. They reached out to me. I talked to them a couple times. I understand the frustration of that 10%. Council did recognize the 3% fee was too high because we don't try to take money just to take it. So we did drop down, I believe, to 1 or 1.5%. I know that was one thing we did do because the 3% regulatory tax, the statute says we dropped it to 1 or 1.5. I can't remember right now. I know that doesn't feel like a lot, and I get that, but we were cognizant in that moment that we didn't want to just take it to take it.
So being a new practice or guideline, is there any leeway to say, you know what, it's new, we're gonna go to 5% for 4 years, and then we're gonna go up to 10, or we're gonna reevaluate or reassess?
I think we talked about that, but we didn't know how much money was going to come in because we have never seen the gross.
How much is coming in?
I don't know. I don't have. I don't work for the. I'm not in that department.
I just feel like going right away to the top tier.
Some groups do one big fundraiser and some do monthly gambling. It just depends on when their funds come in. So we might not see funds from a certain entity until the end of the year because their gambling event is in December versus one that's gambling monthly, daily, it's going to come in differently. So I can't tell you how much has been given or going to be given because we've never seen this happen.
Sure, but 10% is the top tier. It would have been nice to come in a little lower and edge into it as we transition to this new policy, right?
Just followed state statute.
Which says up to 10%, correct? So your state statute, if you.
Just says 10%. I'd have to Google up.
I would say
Up
I would
to.
almost guarantee up
Yeah,
to.
up to. Yeah.
And to come in hard at 10% with a new thing that nobody else is doing, that was a little bit of shock and awe for everybody.
You have some really good questions for the city council.
I really do. though.
You have,
So when's our next meeting?
and that would be the
19th.
place. Yep.
I'm so lucky I'm going to Florida.
I would say I suggest reaching out.
Yeah.
It is like I have brought it up, but it hasn't. Like I said, I'm on council, but it hasn't gone as far as I'd like it to.
It sounds like you're a really good advocate, and like those are questions like, why do we need to go top tier?
Yeah. No, I understand that.
So, thank you for your time, though.
Yep. Thank you.
No, thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. See ya. All right. We're going to go to life jackets.
Yep, let's get
Let's go to life jackets.
Okay. Well,
Has everybody seen the Red Cross policy for life jackets?
I have not.
I printed it. I just printed this one off. I asked for a print off of the city one. Oh.
Enlighten us, Chuck.
All right, well, because seeing how we do deal with the Red Cross for our lifesavers, our lifeguards and everything else like that, it says, always wear a life jacket when boating, rafting, or when using an inner tube or personal witchcraft. Children and inexperienced swimmers should wear life jackets whenever in, on, or around the water, even if a lifeguard is present. And that's pretty much what it comes down to for the Red Cross. It has to be Coast Guard approved, various other things, but that's kind of what it says. Here's a Casson policy, if nobody really knows what it is.
Want a copy?
I guess one.
Yeah, I got it.
It's got crayons all over.
So, obviously, we were hoping Emma was gonna be here tonight.
Yeah.
And I thought she might be, but I should have probably sent, I guess, a reminder email, so that's not my fault. But we did get a letter from, was it a gal out of Rochester that visited the pool? I don't know if everyone's got that letter. Get a chance to kind of read through it.
I just heard about it,
Okay.
but
So I asked David to come tonight, mainly because he is the boots on the ground. He's the one that's up at the pool seeing everything that goes on. So, if there's some sort of, common ground we can make with this policy to kind of appease to both parties, that would be great. But if anyone's got questions, David, if you got any concerns or questions, I'd like you to let them out.
Sure.
Yes.
yeah. You want me to start that?
If you're okay with that.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. Yeah, it's a tricky thing because what do I want to say? I can see both sides of it, right? Like as a parent, I've talked to my wife because I have a 2 and a 4-year-old. Like, yeah, I'd like to take them to the pool, but especially 12 to 4, like I'm not doing it, especially without life jackets, right? Because I don't know if I can always be with them. But on the other side, I kind of looked up why. I asked some of our guards why. So some reasons why a lot of pools, because I've never worked at a pool that allows life jackets during an open swim before. And some of that is it can because life jackets can be bulky, can interfere with sight lines. One of our guards brought up well, so if a kid's drowning, now they're just going to grab that kid with a life jacket and pull them down. It's is that a common scenario? Probably not, but something to consider. You could also, kids in life jackets could be blocking your sight line of someone maybe drowning behind them. Another one was it doesn't allow them to get into a good swim posture, which we want to encourage kids to be able to swim correctly. I have a note as to some others, but this was from the Fort Scott Aquatic Center. What they did. Another big one is that false sense of security. That's a bigger one I want to talk about. Because yes, do life jackets prevent drowning? Yes. Can they still happen? Yes. Right. So, and then of course it's going to be a lot harder to tell if that kid is drowning or not if they're in a life jacket. And then also with that, what I fear in that 12 to 4 range is we have a lot of kids that come without parents. So that's kind of that false sense of security. Well, I sent my kid with a life jacket. Okay. Yes, in theory they should be fine. There's a parent there, but we started doing deep water testing this year, where we have kids jump in that kind of the lap pool area, some down on their front and back on their back. If they can show competency swimming, they can go into the deep water. We had a kid who failed the test and called mom to say they failed me on their test. They're just picking on me. Mom comes in, yells at my assistant manager for 10 minutes about why we're picking on our kid, blah, blah, blah. They finally get to the point where they retest the kid fails, and mom apologizes for how she acted and like not trusting. So I kind of think of that with the life jackets. Right? We have parents sending their kids who don't know what they're doing, some have no idea what their ability level is, and we have this kid who is jumping off diving boards into 12 feet of water who can't pass the basic swim test, and mom has no clue, right? So that's kind of with that false sense of security, like, well, I just sent my kid to the pool, he's got his life jacket, I can sit at home or go to work or whatever, I don't need to worry about them. And I mean, today I think we had 300 people because we had 2 different daycares come. So like there's how many kids without parents. I know it's in here that like, well, it should be in arm's reach. So now I have to have my guards police that and like, oh, get close to your kid, get close to your kid. Oh, my mom's not here. Well, take your life jacket off. And then mom calls. Why can't they wear their life jacket? They're all. So it's kind of one of those things where, in a sense, we open a potential can of worms with it and maybe some semantics. What are we policing, etc. Does it make it safer? Certainly. Too, like I can understand we have to worry less about drowning if kids are in a life jacket and stuff. But you know, another thing we might have to battle the Coast Guard approved versus those puddle jumpers and kind of really, which could be fightable. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say not, but yeah.
Oh, that would just give you extra work to have to check each life jacket as they use it, and you know.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to think.
So it looks like maybe about a third of the hours that you're open, they are allowed right now?
Yeah, so this is a little off. Right now, we're running 12:30 or 12:15, 12 to 4,
Yep.
and then 5 to 8. And then from 5 to 8, that's when the life jackets are allowed.
How much are patrons utilizing life jackets during?
There's about 20 people and none this evening.
Okay.
And I saw 2 life jackets that I didn't like pick them up and look, but they will look like they are the Coast Guard approved sitting on a chair. So
we don't really have any data of how much they're being used or issues they cause because people aren't using them during those
No.
hours.
But like I know last week when we were doing dollar admission, it was hot. We had daycares there. We had a lot of people in the pool we were all kind of on deck watching to be more eyes. So again, would it be nice for maybe some of those kids to have life jackets? Sure. But if we throw 100 kids in life jackets out of 300, that's really going to condense the pool or sightline, I guess, too, a little bit. So
I will say, if for some reason we change this policy, that we are very adamant about the Coast Guard approved life jackets. We have a couple of those puddle jumper ones. They're terrible. They are a hazard waiting to happen.
mm-hmm.
So I think, this board, or whether it's tonight or another night, if we decide to change that policy, I would hope that we, try to go with the Coast Guard approved appropriate life jackets, and that we stick with the policy for sure of no diving board, no rock wall, no water slides, because if they're not worn properly or fitted properly, it's very easy for a child to come out of those, and next thing you know, you got a problem.
That's all in the deep end of the pool, though, all that, what you just mentioned,
Other than
right?
the water slides.
Yeah, other than water
Yep.
slides, but.
I also have a question about the policy. Number 5, when it says only children between the ages of 0 through 10 years will be allowed to use a life jacket when permitted. Has that ever been enacted outside of during the open swim time at all?
Meaning, are there people that are older that are using them?
Or like that, or are people? Do you let people with life jackets in between those ages?
We do.
Because the lady.
In the sense that if there's some sort of disability,
Okay.
the
Medical
aquatic
need.
center is more than happy to accommodate kids that have a disability that don't allow them to be able to swim properly.
Okay.
And I had a mom last week with twin 7-month-old kids, and she had like little floaties that she could put them in to float, which technically floating device is against the rules, but it was a mom with 2 7-month-old twins. I said, stay within arm's reach, just stay out off to the side. She was just sitting like right at the start of the zero entry. I'm like, that's fine.
Yep.
Like, I'm not gonna expect her to hold 2 7-month-old kids, and,
It's hard because
Yeah.
there's gonna be some gray area with
Yeah.
the policy. And that goes, that's to be said about anything. You know, just a mom not gonna leave 2 7-month-olds and go check her phone or
Yeah.
whatever. She's gonna make sure she's with them at all times.
yeah,
Something that might be an opportunity is we're at 4 weeks, 3 weeks left of pool time this
Yeah.
year.
yeah,
If we did make a change this year and have a, pretty small trial time, that way we have an idea of what we should do next year.
sure,
And just something to consider. Might be a low risk change if it's really problematic.
yeah.
It's condensed to a small amount of
Sure. I'm not gonna fight too hard either way on it, because like I said, I see both sides, and if we wanna trial it, we trial it, and I would probably just suggest that we don't allow the daycares to
Yeah,
make it
that
do it,
gets a little
because-
tough because that's a lot
It's a
of
little-
kids coming in.
They'll
And no
naturally
parents, so.
not be qualified because they won't have
And
Their
adults.
parents
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah,
or adults with them.
yeah, so,
So I've given this a fair amount of thought since our last meeting, and I thought, why don't we quantify the problem we're trying to solve by not having life jackets allowed, which is in my mind anyway, the big issue is overconfidence of children who can't swim, and parents not watching children who can't swim. Those two things are the reason why we don't allow life jackets, or at least the big ones for me. And how hard would it be during the times when we allow life jackets to just have a little pad of paper there, say, how many times do you see a person in a life jacket distanced from their supervisor? Whoever's supervising them, and just say, how many times is that happening? Because if it's happening all the time, if we're having incidents 5, 10, 15 a week, well, then that justifies this doesn't work, because it's already in our policy that they have to be supervised in life jackets. Or if it doesn't happen at all, and the parents are really diligent, and we just have 1 or 2 occurrences, then, maybe we can look at a policy change.
But really, no one's wearing life jackets now, so we don't have.
I haven't been there for a lot of the 5 to 8s. I
Together
think
that day.
Sunday nights, when we do the family fun night swim, I think that's when they're a lot more popular.
Okay.
But I've just been there for mostly the 12 to 4s, because that's when we have a lot of people. So, like right now, we're rocking there was 20 kids when I left, and parents, so. I got great assistant managers. I could certainly ask them how many, and they would be able to tell me they're all busy today. But I can check with them tomorrow. I can always just send them a quick message, so you can bring it to you guys or whatever you need, but.
Just kind of keep a running check on it for a week or so and see what happens.
I mean, I think
Right,
realistically, we don't necessarily make a decision for this year with
No,
it being as close
uh-uh.
as it is to the end of the season. But for sure, I think, I see your side of it, maybe trying to get like a idea or like do a trial run. That makes sense. But I think maybe let's just kind of try to get some of those tally numbers and figure out kind of where we're at. And unfortunately, at this point of the year, we're kind of dying out, right? Kids are either on vacations or they're getting back into their fall sports. So we might not have real accurate numbers for that. But, we have all winter long to discuss where we're going to be for next season. Realistically, I think there's going to be a change to our policy no matter what, just kind of depending on where we're going to be at with it. Are we going to be that full life jacket allowed? I think it's fair that everyone here is on agreement that it's going to be a Coast Guard approved life jacket, preferably. But just kind of where we're going to be at with that, I think the decision will be for the season of 2027. But I don't have any problem, making that change just as long as we're kind of all on board and we're on the same page with how we're going to deal with it, how we're going to approach it, how we're going to, make sure that people are respecting that decision that we're making, and that the lifeguards have to make sure that, the parents are paying attention to the children in the pool and they're being within that arm's reach. We don't want anyone to get lax, and we don't want anything to happen.
If we change this policy, does it have to go to council for approval?
I would have to imagine so.
All right. Yeah, so let's just go for the rest of the year, if you can kind of keep track, or have them keep track about in the evenings or whenever it's being used, about whether parents are paying any attention to them or not, or things, so that would be great.
Yeah, we can.
I will try to email that Emma back and just try to touch base with her again. You know, she knew when the meeting was, but maybe I should have sent her a reminder. I mean, people get busy.
No, I think
But
she
I
said
just-
she was going to be here.
Yep, I just want her to know that we're still talking about it. We're still trying to make a decision, and we do care about, you know, what the fact that she came and presented her facts and things. I want to make sure that she understands that we're still discussing this.
And even if we made a change today to get voted on by council, that we wouldn't vote until the 19th of August and the polls closed.
Right.
So this is more of a 2020.
Yeah, I don't want to make a decision tonight on it. I want to give us a little more opportunity to discuss it. And mainly because that decision won't be voted on until after the polls close. So realistically, obviously, we're looking for the 2027 season. Nothing's going to change from here on out. But I think it's crucial that we're having the discussion now.
It'd be something that, you know, whatever's decided, and it gets put into the policy, if that's the case. Say it, we pass it, we're going 24/7, or 7, whatever, you know, the full day life jacket. I think we should probably keep a stipulation in there. Let's try it for a year and see what type of problems may have arose.
Yeah.
You know, you may have 1 or 2 or 3 life jackets every day, and that's it. But what happens when you have 30 kids with life jackets that one day, hens blocking, impeding, you know? And if that gets to be a routine for that year, I don't want to have, you know, do you change it or do you try it? And you change it to change to something different, it's going to be hard, but, you know, give it a year and see how it actually pans out, or 2 years, and then do a full review and say, this is working, or this is not, so. So for when we do decide, just, it's good to have a backup plan to, you know, not just say yes and move on,
Have to review it each year.
kinda, yeah.
Even have something in there where it's up to lifeguard discretion. So if there's an issue or they're concerned about the life jacket or the number, it's up to their discretion. Then they can.
Every life jacket got a Coast Guard seal in it. I'll have to look at mine.
I mean, you could almost
Hey, don't laugh.
Sorry.
you can almost use that rule
They should.
for number 5 for lifeguard discretion as well, because it's written in a way that it could be interpreted as that too.
We might have to train our lifeguards in on how to check to make sure they're properly on if we do approve this. And is that part of their training now? If it's not, we'd want it to be for next year if we do enact this, so that they understand how to check for those things appropriately, so that they're ready to feel successful.
And I think most should, because they do life jackets in lessons.
Okay.
There's some like life jacket safety that is
Okay.
part of the Red Cross, so they should have a pretty good at least understanding.
Okay.
I mean, realistically, there's a lot of little things that intersect when if we're gonna change this policy, right? And realistically, we have the rest of the season to figure out the do's and the don'ts, how we're gonna mitigate the life jackets that might be too big, or, you know what I mean? So like I said, we're not making the decision tonight. It's good that we're talking about it. I think we're all kind of on board, like I said, that we're probably gonna change this for the season of 2027. Just how we're gonna change it, I don't know yet. We're gonna have to come to some sort of agreement. And David, you're probably one of the best people to have here for that, because you're boots on the ground. You have experience in that. I have 0 experience. I can swim. That's it.
Sure.
And
So-
if you have any ideas for it, just, you know, shout it out, write it.
Yeah.
Tell them, just,
Sure.
even if one of your lifeguards says, well, can't you do this? Just jot it down real quick.
Yeah.
Cool, good.
I wouldn't mind knowing, you know, I'm not a solid percentage, but how many people are actually utilizing their life jackets during those open swim hours?
Yeah.
You know, is it a very small percentage where it's like, okay, let's make it available
Mm-hmm.
the whole time, and let's just see how it goes, because maybe it's not as many people as we think.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's gonna be way more than we thought, and now we have to come back and kind of revise how we're gonna approach it.
For sure.
All
Just
right.
Off the side note, off the cuff, if it passes and we go, full hours, is the pool, or would we be required, or should we have life jackets for different age groups? So if somebody has a life jacket that they brought in that has failed, now do we provide one for safety? I'm just throwing it out there to where,
I mean, I see where you're going with that. I think that's for a later date discussion.
I know, but I want to bring it up to say,
But
now
I guess
that,
my opinion is if you don't come with the correct life jacket, that you're not allowed to swim if you need it. That would be my suggestion. It shouldn't be on the city's responsibility to provide you a life jacket that fits, I guess.
well, it's on the safety side of, we will have some just in case, but don't come to the pool and say.
I wouldn't advertise that.
No.
So,
I mean, if you're gonna have some, that's fine, but I wouldn't advertise, hey,
no,
we
but
got
it
some
would
just
be,
in case.
I'm just throwing it out there for that little side note for, strap broke on one, and now what do we do? Mom, we gotta take them home or pull them out, and, or they came with a buddy, I don't know, it just popped into my head, so. Food for thought.
Yep, good. All right.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, no problem.
I don't think I got a chance to meet you anyways.
I think, yeah, you might not have been here because I didn't recognize
You
you.
weren't here.
I wasn't.
You were still
That's
working.
right. I was working, but yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Perfect.
Great.
Yeah, no
Thanks.
problem. Have a good night, guys.
You too.
Thanks.
All right, health inspection.
So this is usually the part of my year that I dread the most. Just so
Shouldn't have been
everyone
so
knows.
bad.
But,
But,
so this, years past, and they changed the requirements, it's almost like yearly for the health department. It's something new every year that they ask that you have, they ask, we had a different health inspector this year. He checked way different things than we've had checked in the years past. And he has the notes from the years past inspections, but we had two dings on each side, which is the far least amount we've ever had. And one was a loose bolt on the water slide, just one. And then the other was a sensor that was bad. So the way I look at it was we did fantastic on the maintenance side, which I do give my guys a lot of thanks. We had put a lot of effort and work into making sure everything is operating as best as possible. With that being said, there was one thing noticed a couple weeks back before the inspector came, which I don't think they would have noticed it anyway, but just so you guys are aware, the extent that we go to try to make the pool safe and acceptable for the health inspector, there was 2 welds broken, so there's stainless steel trim around the entire pool that goes into the gutter. Those, they're probably, we'll just say they're 6 or 8 foot sections, they're all welded together. There was 2 welds broken. One of the assistant managers brought that to our attention. I got in contact with someone who could weld stainless steel. We drained the pool down on a Friday night. Down below that weld, he came in at 6 o'clock in the morning, welded it, we put the pool back up, and there we went. So just so that you guys are aware of the things that we will do to try to make sure that we abide by the safety and the regulations of the health department. And then as far as, let's see here, as far as the concessions go, two things that they had, that we got dinged on was we weren't cleaning the grate to the pizza oven, which is a new one for me. Very easy to do, right? So that was an easy fix. The other one was, like most of you been to any restaurant, you have to have hand wash signs in your
Yeah,
restrooms for staff, which we didn't have.
Okay.
Easy fix. So those are literally the 4 things that we had dinged on, and they're easy fixes and they're already fixed. So it was a very stress-free after they left, essentially.
Good. Good.
But next year's a new year, so who knows?
Yeah, but you can let everybody that worked on it, from, and I guess I speak from the park board, just awesome job.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just awesome.
And it's tough because our pool's getting to that age where, every year it's something new. And we're really trying to really stay on top of things happening. I had a meeting with the Legion for the Casson Veterans Memorial Thursday night. That's when the power went out. I'm in the middle of a meeting, I get a call from the guy that's on call for the pool saying, what do I do? And I said, here's what you gotta do, everyone's gotta leave, the pumps aren't circulating water, whatever. Then Friday morning, I get a call saying, we're not getting any chlorine. So our heads that are on our chlorine tanks, we're not pumping chlorine. Whether that had to do with the power outage, which they're not based off electricity, but it just happened to be both of them went out at the same time. Thankfully for my staff and Charlie, our public works director, with his experience in the water department, getting a hold of our chemical guy, going up to the cities, picking up a new head, bringing up the 2 old ones to get those rebuilt, and getting so that we could have chlorine in the pool. Because if we don't have chlorine in the pool, the pool does not
Use
open.
it.
That is a very specific mandated thing that if you don't have chlorine, it's not safe to be in. So it's just, you gotta just go with the flow.
All right. Dollar Days recap.
So, Dollar Days was interesting. We actually did on 97.5 radio station, we did a promotion. They had three different tiers of promotions. Ashley, you might be better help at this, but one of them was like a month in advance, or like 3 weeks in advance.
Oh, you mean for like the radio advertisement?
Right.
Yeah.
So one was like $1,200 for like, let's just say 3 weeks in advance. They do it might have been like a 2-week thing, and it was a 30-second promo on the radio station. And then the other one was a 2-week thing, but a 15-second promotion, which was like $1,000. And then the other one was, hey, we'll come and broadcast for 2 hours at the Aquatic Center for $950, something like that. So we said, and they promote a week in advance on the radio for it. So we opted into that one, and they came and did a promo at the Aquatic Center on Wednesday from noon to 2.
Cool.
We ended up giving away 4 family day passes for that promo, and then we did Dollar Days. So, minus the fact that we advertised for, we'll just say $1,000, we increased from last year during the fair by 2,000, roughly.
Holy cow.
So, I think
Dollars.
it was,
$1,000.
yeah, $2,000, sorry. I think it was beneficial. I think there's, maybe some, I think we should do something for festival, basically. I don't know what we should do for festival. I don't know if it's going to be necessarily a Dollar Days, but I kind of want to come up with something that we could do during festival. Whether it's just for, afternoon swim, or just evening swim, or I don't want to repeat the dollar days thing.
Right.
So I don't know if anyone's got any ideas for that or not. Something that we can do within the facility, not have to, you know, outreach to whether it's food vendors or Patty Joe's ice cream, you know, things that we can do within our pool.
How about a friend pass? You pay, your friend gets in free, buy one free, a BOGO.
So BOGO.
We call it friend pass, whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah,
Everybody.
I mean, I'm on board with that.
yeah.
How is attendance during festival? Because this is one of the reasons we did this for the fair was because our attendance is
So
usually
now-
minimal. Would we be losing revenue if we?
I don't know, because even with the fair, you know, my wife had taken Thursday off to bring the kids up to the fair. They didn't have rides during the day because it was so hot. So I'm assuming we got a lot more business because of that. Yep. So it's really hard to actually like decipher whether our dollar days really helped, or was it because it was so hot? You know, and I don't remember what last year was like during the fair.
Yeah.
But I know they didn't close down rides because of the heat.
I like the BOGO. It's
And do we want to do, you know, so festival starts on a Friday, really? Do we want to just do it on a Friday, or?
Started on Friday.
And I would just say do it for one day. You know, do it both open swim, the afternoon and evening, or what do you guys think?
They still have the belly flop contest going on.
Yep,
What-
so
that's
Saturday,
usually at,
Saturday during the day,
time is that usually?
it's
5.
during the day. So I think they still have the evening swim on Saturday.
Doesn't really get going until Friday night, does it?
Right.
Maybe Friday night and Saturday day.
Well, Saturday day, well, what time, I guess I'm not, I'd have to,
and Sunday's tough because they're in the parade.
right. So I don't know if I would do, I mean, maybe we do it all day Friday. You know, do the early swim and the evening swim. You know, on a Friday, so noon to 4 and 5 to 8, whatever it might be on that weekend or day.
I got no problem with that, it's just a matter of, you know, how do you get the word out?
Same way we did before. We won't do the radio, but we'll do Facebook, we'll do the city page, we can do, that's about it, right? But that's probably enough. I mean, realistically, I don't know. We can put it on, you know, the Casson Aquatic Center's webpage. Unless you have better ideas. I mean, I don't necessarily want to spend a lot of money into trying to advertise for this one. You know, the fair was a little bit more. It's a little bigger because
Well, it draws a lot more from outer community.
it's countywide.
Yeah.
So, you know, with it being a citywide thing, and maybe it's not too late to talk to festival. If they send out some, they have a page, I'm sure,
They do have a,
Facebook
Yeah.
page.
Yep.
So that might be.
and actually
something-
they have something in the DCI too.
So that might be something we can coordinate with festival and try to promote it with them.
Move we do a BOGO swim friend day, Friday, both swimming sessions.
Yeah.
I think Friday,
We
just
have a-
Friday, because I think you have enough going on Saturday with
the
activities at the
festival
pool.
in general.
Yeah, and then Sunday the parades and, yeah, so I think Friday would be just, I think, yeah, for one day, see what happens.
Let's just make that a motion. We have a motion to do that. Do we have a
I
second?
did make a motion.
Yep.
We need a second, though.
We do. We need a second.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. All approve, say aye.
Aye.
All disapprove? All right, there you go.
Thank you, guys.
Childhood Cancer Group.
So we've been hosting, I shouldn't say hosting, we've been providing the park and aquatic center for the childhood cancer group before I started. I will bend over backwards for that group. The gal Sherry is so nice to work with, and they bring on the high side 200 kids, and they're all have cancer. We do a lot of things. The staff, my staff, along with the pool staff, does a lot of things to make it acceptable for their group. Whether it's, we spray the west or the east side of the park for mosquitoes and gnats. We're making sure there's no wasp nests, bees nests. We pressure wash the pavilion, scrub the benches, clean the restrooms from top to bottom. The aquatic center staff cleans everything in the aquatic center, provides fans, moves tables. I really like doing stuff for this group because they are very appreciative, and we get such good rapport, and she continues to send her blessings and thanks for what we've done, which is, it's appreciated, but it's like we're doing our job to make sure that we provide you guys the best. But I just want you guys to be aware how appreciative not only I am, but my staff and the pool staff is of this group that comes in every year.
What day?
They came in on Saturday.
Oh, they were here already.
Yep. So this was their first time coming during the fair, and I kind of went out of my way I blocked X amount of stalls on 7th Street to make sure that anyone in a van had access to the pavilion right off the road. I told them to utilize as much parking space in front of the park shop so that they're close to the pavilion, and then we made sure that there was plenty parking across from the pool.
Cool.
I did work with her and let her know that the fair is every 3rd week in July, so they are very good about talking to Ashley about trying to make a reservation for the aquatic center in like November of the year before. So I did tell her, I said, if it worked out fine, great, and if some of your families decided to go to the fair, even better. If not, don't schedule it on the fair weekend. But I will make accommodations if needed.
Great.
Yeah, some things cancer is one thing, but when it's childhood cancer,
It hits a little different.
right, and to donate time, value, I would lose money to make kids smile, to give them something positive, and I think we all would. So I think that's a great thing to keep doing for that, so.
Yep. Yep, you have our blessing, just keep doing it. Great. Summer projects, decommissioning existing Veterans Memorial.
So we met as a Veterans KVM, the Veterans Memorial Group, had discussion about trying to get the work on the new memorial started. So with that being said, there comes the quote-unquote decommissioning of the existing memorial, which was requested by the Legion. I went to a Legion meeting. They asked when, and I was hoping before festival, and they said not a chance. We are way too busy. And they've never decommissioned a memorial, so I don't know what it entails. They don't know what it entails. And they were talking the end of September, which is not acceptable for me, because as a group or as a KVM, we would love to start ripping and shredding ground before festival, so that as folks are walking, because that's the part of the park that's not used, other than the playground, which is far away from it. But we want to have people see the chaos, to have a banner up there saying Future Veterans Memorial, so that people can be like, they're moving forward. They're going to start work. They're doing it. They're going to get it done. raised some, questions and concerns, and we want people to see.
They're gonna see there's activity going, so they're
Yes.
like, wow, cool.
So,
On the layout, can you do both? Can you leave that there?
yes, so I
Take everything around it. and
I
leave the
spoke
memorial.
with Tim, I did speak with Tim earlier today and just kind of tried to figure out what he thought. And he basically said, well, we could just set a date and tell them, this is when you come and decommission it, or we're just gonna start. I don't want to do that necessarily just out of respect. They have been obviously our primary
Donor.
for this project. But there is plenty that we can get started on around the existing memorial to at least raise some awareness or concerns, like what's going on. So, I mean, step one would be even just start removing the sand from the sand volleyball court, and start maybe excavating across the road for the new volleyball court, right? That would be a good first step. I just, like, I don't wanna ruffle feathers, I don't wanna, they're a huge supporter, and I want them to continue to be a supporter, and I just don't, I don't know if they really know what they wanna do or what they're doing, and nor do I, as far as it comes to decommissioning the actual memorial. But I wanna make sure that we respect their decision to do that.
Well, it gets to be who's responsible for the decommissioning. Is it a city thing, or is it a Legion thing? I don't know either. It's,
See, and that's kind of a hard part, because I understand where Tim comes from, because it's on city property, right? It's in the city park. So I do respect his decision with that, but at the same time, the Legion has been our priority supporter for this project. And I want to make sure if they, and maybe it warrants me to meet with the rest of the group and discuss it as far as with the Legion, because I'm only getting, two individuals' side of that story. I'm not getting the whole.
well, I can see where, work around it, you're not doing anything with the memorial, so it's
Right.
not doing any harm to it. You're showing good faces, like, we need to start something, we need to get it started, so we're starting as a city. When the decommissioning date happens, then it happened, and then the rest can follow. But, yeah, I think you guys are right on by,
I just want to make sure we start maybe tearing some ground up before festival, just to really get some people's attention.
So you fence off a size square, dig up a dirt and make a dirt pile.
That's kind of, yeah.
Put a sign there.
And it
that says
doesn't,
what's
like,
going
it
on.
doesn't really have to be much, like, realistically, we could snow fence that area off and tear out the poles for the sand volleyball court and have a pile of dirt, like you said, and people are gonna be like, what are they doing?
Gotta get the
What's going
attention.
on? And then we'll have the banner up there just saying,
get your side of,
Yeah.
yep.
Not that it should change the plans, but I think they do usually use the sand in the volleyball area during Festival in the Park for a kids treasure hunt.
okay.
I don't know if they're doing it this year, but they have.
Let
for the
me,
last
I
few
will,
years.
that's good that you say that. I will talk to Christine.
Perfect, let them put a bunch of shovels.
Yeah, right.
Each kid gets a shovel, and they get to move the sand over to the,
I wonder if we could use the bricks as memorial fundraisers.
Sell the bricks
during
off?
festival, you just
Existing
sell them
bricks.
$5 a brick, put the name of your loved one or your service member on the brick, and now you have a memorial at your house. They could even just, it's not hard to take a brick off this kind of construction, just tap it out.
My only concern is most of them are falling apart.
That's even easier then.
Well, when I say falling apart, I mean the entire brick is falling apart.
Once you've had some spall in from internal freezing.
There's some.
The other concern, I guess, is like, who do we, are we letting the citizens purchase the brick and then it's up to them to engrave it?
Yeah, or just have a Sharpie,
Oh, sure, okay.
well, they get to take the brick home is what it is.
Do what they want, right.
Yeah, buy a brick from the memorial and take it home and do whatever you
got
want
the
around your
memorial
house with
brick
it.
from the Castle Memorial
Have to-
before the new one is built.
The only other problem I see with that is the Legion wanted to incorporate the existing memorial within the new memorial. And,
There may be some extras, but yeah, you had mentioned that before.
yeah, and I don't wanna,
Well, maybe mention it to them, see what they say.
They're gonna have an opinion. I mean, if
Right.
decommissioning is an official thing, they're gonna have something they want to do with the stuff, perhaps.
right. I don't mind that decision. I think maybe during festival might be a little too soon.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
I just thought it'd be a great way to get it started for you, but that's fine.
But I do kind of agree. I'm just nervous.
Put a hammer or a
about trying to
chisel, a little table and a booth.
push that so quickly. I am a little concerned about that. That's all I got on that.
That's all right. Youth programs, contributions for maintenance of field.
So I know in years past, before I started, some of the youth programs used to donate for whether it's field maintenance or whatever. How did Ronnie go about that? Do you know? And you might not remember. I just
Part of me tries, you know, a lot of it was Ronnie, I think it was Ronnie contacting, you know, these different organizations like, you know, we're doing all this for you guys to plan it, but we haven't seen anything monetarily come in.
yeah.
And you've always kind of said you're gonna help support it, so where's the support funds at? And then I think it usually says, well, we'll see what we could do and we can drum up because all of our funds are committed towards equipment and this and that. And, you know, so I think is the word begging, Ronnie begging was more probably the true term.
See, and I don't know, and I don't necessarily feel comfortable about how to approach these organizations. And the reason why this is brought up is Joe Adams from the city of Manorville had called me and asked me that very question. So the city of Manorville, their park board is kind of having that discussion also about some of these youth programs and contributing to field supplies and things like that. And, you know, I was working with Sam, who is in charge of the youth soccer program, and we're working with, you know, getting their youth program out on the Lions Field, or Lions Park. And he had offered, you know, if we can contribute, whether it's for chemicals to spray weeds to make sure that the fields are looking good, you know, we'd be happy to try to do that. So I just kind of was trying to see how, you know, I look, like one of the big ones obviously is baseball and football. Baseball's pretty much all summer long, whatever program, whether it's, you know, not necessarily just draining the fields, but the chalk that we have to buy, the spray paint that we have to do for lining the fall ball lines, even the line to put on the field. You know, youth football, I take a lot of pride in that one because it's a blast to put that field together and see it just go from, you know, just a green pasture to a striped out, mowed tight looking field, and it looks immaculate, and I get a lot of compliments on it. But we also spend a lot of money on watering it, mowing it, time, the paint that we have to put on that field. I just don't know how to approach these
Is there,
organizations.
Is there a list that you could,
So that was
needs, okay, this is what we need.
that was kind of one
Give
of
it
those
to
things that I met
give
with
it to
Tim.
them and say, okay, what can you help us out with this?
Yeah. Would you like to buy 500 pounds of chalk that
Right.
someone's cost
Yeah.
you or whatever?
So Tim kind of said, you know, maybe make an itemized list of what you need or what you use to prep those fields,
I think-
whether it's all summer long or.
I think a lot of them don't understand what it takes to do it.
Right.
And in my mind, because all these kids pay to be in these programs.
Right.
Okay, so they have funds. They just have to figure out, you know, when they take these funds in from all these kids, either increase every kid's fee by $5 or whatever it is, or percent. And, you know, these organizations just have to go out and say, okay, you know, we have to help support the maintenance of these fields, because here's all the expenses the city has. They're saying, you know, we're supposed to be able to contribute as expected, and I think they know they have to, but they never really do,
And you know,
because they never have the funds. Well,
the
you know,
nice thing about, like, when me and Tim spoke about it, he said you can go one of two ways about this. You can try to get, you know, a yearly contribution or donation, whether it's for, you know, your chalk or your field paint or whatever it may be, or we can do the flip side and just start charging them for the use of the field every year, you know. And he's like, you know, realistically, that part of it doesn't look so good. If they're willing to donate, you know, X amount of whatever is feasible in their program to help with some of that maintenance, that would be great. I don't know how we've done in the past. You know, I know youth football used to, you know, when I talked with Corey, who's been here quite a bit longer than I have, you know, he's like, as long as I can remember, they used to pay for the paint for the field, and I don't know when it stopped, but it stopped.
If we even had a basic menu of the material goods that go into it, they would see all that goes into it and maybe appreciate it a little bit more, and then also say, hey, if I donate $500, that's only a drop in the bucket, so they'll have a little bit more sense of the need, maybe.
well, and in that case, they know they also donate it towards something that's a pretty large expense.
Right.
And they can build that into their kids' fees to say, okay, when these fees come in, you know, if we got, you know, $27,000 worth of material, because the Shakopee lime's not cheap, and they say, well, I don't play in the field, I run in the grass. Still got to water it, still got to mow it, still got to paint it. You know, so I think it's better going back to these orders and say, okay, we're going to implement you know, we're going to ask you guys to donate back to the city to help pay for some of the expenses that just, you know, for the use of the program. And you're going to push that through the kids to get to the parents. So it's not I don't think it's a burden on the organization. It's just a matter of them managing the funds coming in and say, okay, here's a little bit that's going to get set aside. And if it's a per kid thing or if it's a per group thing, you know, you're going to have different changes because you have different amount of kids. So how do you try to do that? It may be based on a per kid. And whatever funds you get is a perk.
And that's kind of how I look at it. I said, you know, realistically, any amount that they would be willing to donate to the city and help to, and it's not the labor, it's just the products that we have to put on the
Yep.
fields. Any amount would be greatly appreciated.
Right. But you still say, but you have to donate an amount.
Right.
Because you're going to say, yeah, we will. And I think that's where Ronnie, it's like, well, you know, waiting for youth football. And next thing you know, well, or baseball or whatever it is, well, they got a batting cage, or well, they put it towards this because they need equipment or they need a new, whatever it may be, gloves, pads, balls, whatever.
Right.
So then they kept using the excuse like, well, you know, the funds we were supposed to put, we had to put towards this. Okay, well, you guys got to figure that out on your side, but you still got to pay your electricity bill at home, or it's going to get cut off. You know, so you almost got to just put a precedence down. We're not asking for a lot, but we need something to help offset. And I think the challenge is trying to find out how do you knock that down to fair for everybody. You know, so and then they have to come back and.
And I, you know, personally, I think realistically, like, you know, it would be baseball, football, soccer, based off of the usage of the fields, the amount of time that we have to prep the fields. You know, baseball's number one, and then it would be football. There's a lot more cost that goes into prepping the football field than the youth soccer fields, because they paint their own field.
Yep.
We're essentially providing them the space, and then we're trying to control the weeds. So there's not a lot of prep, obviously, that goes in for the soccer. And maybe years down the road, there might be a little bit more, just because we're trying to accommodate soccer a little bit more than what we have in years past. Obviously, with with those sports growing, they need more field space, and the school can only provide so much field space.
Well, and we're trying to provide the space for them.
100%.
So it goes right back, it's like, we are doing more to get more play area for you. So,
Well, I mean, realistically, I think the takeaway is, I just need to maybe come up with a time and materials list and just,
Yep.
for all organized, or for
All of them.
all sports,
Yep.
and just say, hey, realistically,
Percentage.
yearly, this is kind of what we have into prepping and
Yep.
ball fields or football field for you guys. Is there some sort of donation you'd be willing to help out to pay for
yeah.
the materials or?
And I say, it might be, shy of saying, if you can get some, some money yearly donated back to the city for the program, put it in your budget. But, if you say, well, we're always zero on the budget, it's like, well, then it's eventually going to be, now your organization will be renting the fields and you will have to pay, which we're trying to avoid. So come up with some funds, help us offset. We're not asking for them to pay in full, because obviously I think, you start saying that, they're going to say, well, let me just donate stuff. Make sure the stuff they're donating is not the stuff you need.
Right.
So, so I think it's just better to go back, come up with your numbers, go back to these three organizations, say, okay, we gotta get back to a free will donation of some sort valued, and at that point, where do you find it? And they can increase their budget, per child's entry, to try to say, say it's an extra $1 a kid. Well, if you got 500 kids, that's $500, more than what you had. But if you ask them to donate something, they're gonna say, well, I'll commit $500, and then they give you nothing. So, I think that's I think Ronnie did a little begging and reminding, and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't, it just kind of floated past. So,
In order to maintain the quality of fields we're all used to, we need some support.
And I think my staff takes a lot of pride in trying to create the best that we can with what we have. And I would love to continue, if not make it better. Northeast was one of those ball fields that when I started, we struggled with the most with quality field grass. And we did a whole overtaking on it, killed everything off it, reseeded, and it looks better than it's looked before, but that's been a lot of work for my staff to do, and to keep it watered, keep it looking good. But that's what I want to provide for the community is.
well, the
that's
community
what we
wants it,
provide.
these organizations want it, nobody wants to run on a hard packed, half dead or half dandelion
And we don't
field,
need
so.
the Sandlot ball field.
Right.
Okay.
So, but that's kind of where.
Yeah, so,
I
yeah,
think
come
I
up with a
was.
want list and see what, and present it to them and see what happens. Okay, old business.
Do you have any updates or anything?
Sure, I can give you a quick update. Since last meeting, we have cut the walking trail, roughed that in, roughed in the basket areas for holes 3 and 4. I've got the big grotto where it opens up to that popple tree all cut down. Just a lot of brush to move out, but it's rough cut in. So it's something that you can now go take a look at. The walking trail's rough cut. It could be improved, of course, but you could walk it now. So you could actually walk the walking loop.
Actually, I
Cool.
took our little Cushman down it
Did you?
a couple weeks ago or a week or so ago. I will say, if any of you are, now's the time to do it because it's kind of cool out. But if you get a chance, go out and look, because it is, you did a lot of work in a short amount of time. So I will say kudos to you, because even where that big tree is back there, that was thick to try to get back to the first time you even went back to.
I worked on it today. You can now see the tree.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm making a lot of work for the city guys because we're going to have a lot of brush to clean up one way or another. The other update is the Area Disc Golf Association will be meeting the 3rd of August. Be presenting the program to them, and apparently now we're also presenting to Joint Powers tomorrow morning at 7:30. And the city council did approve the $10,000 matching fund. If they'll accept in-kind donations, we have about 10% of that covered already. We haven't even officially started fundraising. So,
We'll see what tomorrow brings at joint ventures.
right?
That is one big tree.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's out there, I just imagine, it's out there in the middle of nowhere, nobody's touched it for hundreds of years, and it's just sitting there.
And it's on an oxbow.
I told Chuck to go out and look,
I
and then he
did.
texted me the next morning, he said, you weren't kidding, that is one big tree.
All by its little own. All right, youth soccer.
We pretty much touched on that.
Okay. Correspondence. I do, at our last meeting, we got a little carried away with our public forum speaking. And what I did was I looked at what council does for their public forum, and I looked at the library board, see what they do, and I looked at planning and zoning. Planning and zoning and library board, they don't really have anything. They just kind of, you want to come and talk. I think we really should kind of formalize it a little bit. So, and this is subject to change or anything, so I just kind of wrote down this, public forum. This section is limited to 15 minutes unless a board member requests a longer session. The speaker will be limited to, I left that blank, minutes for speaking. Speaker will be required to state their name and address, and I just added one because I should have had the gal standing up at the podium where the microphone was. And that's it, must stand in front of the board while speaking. So if I could kind of get that into our agenda format somehow, and even if we don't have anybody in it, anybody who wants to speak or anything like that, that's fine, we'll just keep it in. And then normally we know ahead of time if somebody wants to come up and talk, right?
Yeah. So is that something we could just maybe pencil in after call to order or approve the minutes, just have that, penciled in the agenda for a public discussion?
Right, it's kind of like, isn't it kind of what the city council does that?
don't
They
they?
just, your public forum.
Public forum or
Just
visitors to
before-
the council?
Visitors to the council.
Visitors to the council.
Visitors to the council, they are on the agenda already and they can communicate back and forth with us. If you fill out a form to hear just to speak during public forum, then it's 4 minutes, I believe, and then we don't say anything.
Yeah, 4 minutes. Maybe we should put visitors to the board.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to discourage anyone from
No.
coming to a meeting. Because sometimes, they might contact me or Chuck or any one of you guys and want to come to a meeting, and it might be after we've already drawn up the agenda.
It's,
So anyone who shows up could speak during that time.
I mean, I guess that would be my opinion.
Right, but we'd still have to limit it to,
Yes.
this is the time to speak.
So are you
That's
saying total time for the number of visitors we have here is 15 minutes? And then
Starts at 5 after 6, you're done at 20. The whole session is done at whatever.
and then per visitor has a time limit as well?
Yeah.
Can I recommend that you also add in language that allows for members of the board to move an additional number of minutes with
Yep.
a second, so that, if they didn't get it covered, we have some things we want to do. Well, I move we add 2 more minutes. With a second, it can be approved.
Yeah, I got in here unless a board member requests a longer session. So-
And I ask that also or suggest that also have a second, so it's not just one board member, but a board
Oh,
member
sure.
and a second.
Sure.
Makes sense.
With a second, yep.
that's fair.
Yeah, because it kind of carried on a little bit. Tim wanted to get out early, and it was just, we kind of carried on for a little bit. And I have no idea what he wanted to do, but it was just like, I've been in that situation too. It's like, I got to get out of here. Yeah, things went on, so. But that's just my suggestion, and if I have your guys' approval, I'll work with Ashley on it.
Yeah,
and we'll-
I have no problem with that.
Okay. All right, great. And one more question for you. How's our ash tree?
We're,
Knocking
the
down
ash
the-
tree removal for City Boulevard trees is officially done.
Done, okay.
And our program for that is done. So anyone after the 2026 season, we do not cover the 50% for treatment.
All right, good to know. Yep.
How many ash trees do we have left in the city? How many survived? Any idea?
Well, I can tell you, what's Gilkison's first name?
Ted.
Ted. He has the best looking ash trees I've ever seen in my entire life. They are immaculate. So whatever he's been treating them with, they are awesome. But realistically, I would say in boulevards, less than 20. There aren't very many people that treat theirs, and there have been a few that started treating theirs a few years back to try to save them. My opinion is once you start seeing it, you're good luck. No matter what a company says as far as we can save it, you're just fighting the inevitable. Gilkison's trees, he started that ASAP, and his have not lost a leaf since the Emerald Ash Borer came about. But I think it's hit and miss. But yeah, I honestly would say as far as boulevard trees, I would say maybe 20 at the max.
So not every tree got wiped out, obviously.
No, but I think what
Good portion
the
of them.
last count I had was well over 500 ash trees for city boulevard trees. So that was quite.
It's quite devastating, yeah.
Yeah. So that is why when I try to do the boulevard program, if someone, I try to have a diverse group of trees on that list, but if someone calls me and says, what do you think? I say, not a maple. Because everyone loves maples because they're quick growing for the most part, but they like them because they're beautiful, fall colors, but diverse. We need diversity in our trees.
Because the maple borer will come
They will.
take the sap out of that.
That'll be the next thing that
Yeah.
will
Be the
happen
next
with
one.
our maple trees.
Yep, maple syrup will be gone
We'll be
and
in trouble.
All right, well, that's all I have. If nobody has anything else, I'll need a motion to adjourn.
I want to stay, so I'm not going to move.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
The motion, have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Right, thank you, gentlemen. Had a good talk tonight.
Bye.
Once again, Ryan, not my fault.
This was on me, sorry.